Now, kind of related to the prompting technique explained in the previous lecture, where we used ChatGPT to split a problem into multiple sub-problems on our behalf, there is another very powerful prompting technique you should be aware of. In certain situations, you can get dramatically better results by forcing ChatGPT to outline its thought process, so to say, or put in other words, if you get ChatGPT to describe how it derived a certain solution instead of just giving you the solution, you can, in certain situations, get way better results. And the reason for that simply is that in the end, as you learned in this course, ChatGPT and all these large language models are about predicting words in the end. They are about predicting text based on the text you passed to them and the text they already generated. And if they output an entire thought process, that can therefore lead to better results, since they have more words to build up the overall response and more words that need to be connected logically, than if you just ask for a shorter or single result, for example. And here's a pretty good example that shows what I mean. If you ask ChatGPT for the result of a mathematical calculation and you force it to give you just the result without describing how it got there, chances are that you're getting a wrong result. For example, here the correct result would have been 80, but since ChatGPT is no calculator, but instead just a tool that predicts words, here it predicted the wrong word. And of course, as also mentioned before, it's totally possible that you got the right result for this specific example, because there is some randomness involved, but simply try a couple of different calculations and chances are high that with this prompt, where you force ChatGPT to give you just one single result instead of giving you an entire explanation, you're sometimes getting wrong results. If you instead would send a prompt that looks something like this, where you tell ChatGPT that it should not just give you the final result, but instead kind of derive the result, chances are that you're getting a correct result. Which in this case here indeed is the case. So here it indeed ends up with 80, which is the correct result, even though it has kind of an error down there, but the result is correct because it outlined its thought process and it basically derived this result step by step. Now, of course, the math example was just that, an example. You might not really be using ChatGPT for doing math. A calculator typically is better. But it is a great example for showing why this technique can make a real difference. Of course, in reality, you would probably be using it for prompts like this, where you're maybe asking for 3 key metrics to analyze a company. You might be getting good results here no matter how you post this prompt or how you send this prompt, but you also might get better results if you get ChatGPT to outline its thought process that leads to certain metrics being suggested. Now here in this case, it turns out that it actually gave me more than 3 metrics, or to be precise, it kind of gave me 3 groups of metrics here with sub-metrics or certain factors I might be looking for. And of course, we could then get ChatGPT to check its own response, to be self-reflective, to maybe narrow this down to just 3 metrics overall if we wanted to. But what you can see is that indeed it does describe in detail why certain metrics were picked, and therefore, as mentioned, this prompting technique, where you get ChatGPT to outline its thought process, can lead to better results.